Okay. So we'll start. We'll start. So in today's class, as you can see on the screen, we'll be talking about dictionaries in today's class. Okay. Okay. The class was supposed to this topic was supposed to be taught last week, Wednesday, but for some reasons that we had little drawbacks and we had to re-explain some codes to people understanding. We could not cover this topic, so we'll be doing it today. Okay. Um, but before we start, to be sure that we're on the same page. All right. I want someone to. All right. I want someone to tell me, without executing this code, what will be the output of this code? Okay. If you know the answer, you can raise your hand and I'll unmute you.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Yeah. The first thing we're doing, we are assigning the numbers, the integers, to the L. So the first
Okay.
print to the L,
Okay.
to the variable L.
Okay.
So the first one, we're going to print out the content in it. That's for the first print. The second print, we print out the index number of 30.
Okay.
Then, yes, that's the one in the middle. We print out the index number of 30. Then the last one, we'll print out, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's meant to, the last one will print out 50.
50. Okay. 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 All right. Okay. So okay. Someone else.
Okay. Good evening, sir.
Okay,
good evening.
Good evening.
The first one you're going to print 10, 20, 10, 20, 30. Then the second line print. Second line output is will give us 0, 1, 2. Will give us 2. It's going to give us 2. That's the index of 30 in the list. Then the fifth line is going to give us the whole list, which is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, the last one.
The last one. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Someone else. Talk?
Yeah.
The first one will give us the index of two. Yes. Print L. That will give us 30. The first one will give us 30.
Okay.
Second one will give us 2. And the last one will give us an index error.
Index error, okay. Some other person.
Okay, so the first one will give us 0, 1, 2. The first one will print out 30. That is the 30 is occupying the second 0, 1, 2 of the list. Okay. And then the second one will actually give us 2 because 30 is occupying the second position. Okay. While the L will give us out of range because the total number of is 4 actually, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the last one will actually give us an out of range error.
Okay. Is there anyone that has something contrary to what they've said so far? Something different? That's something different. Go ahead and unmute yourself and let's say
the last line will give a traceback error.
Traceback error. Okay. Okay. Someone hand is still up, so I believe that you have something different. Oyebola, your hand is up. I think Oyebola is not with us. All right, so okay, so let's execute the code and see what happened there. All right, let's say one. Okay. So the first one actually gave us 30. The second one gave us the index of where 30 is in that list, which is index 2. Then the last one, we have an error of list index out of range. Right, that was really good. That was really good. It means that we are all on the same page. Okay, so without wasting time, we'll we look at what we have for today. Dictionaries. Okay, it's going to be a very simple topic because most of the things that happens here we already know them with the string and the list as well. Okay, so most of those function works here as well. So it's a minor difference, and for the at the end of the class, probably we should be able to see the difference and then the similarities in with dictionary and list and the rest of strings as well. Okay, so so we'll be covering this, the basic of dictionary, how to access items in dictionary, and also how to change items in a dictionary and looping through dictionary, as well as making copies of dictionaries. Okay, so basic of dictionary, right? So what's dictionary? Okay, dictionary is more like a list. It's like a list, okay? A collection of items, okay, separated by commas, all right? But the difference is in list, these items are being enclosed in a square bracket, all right? But in dictionary, these items have been enclosed with a curly braces, all right? And and then each item comes in pair, all right? They comes in pair, all right? And the first pair, and this pair is being separated with a colon. Now the first pair is called the key, and the second pair is called the value. Okay, see it as a list. All right, a list, we have the item itself and then the index. All right, and the index refers to where the item is. All right, but here in dictionary, the key refers to the item itself. Okay, so we just create a simple dictionary and see how that looks. Okay, and how it actually works. So okay, so I'll take this off. All right, take that off. So now we'll create a dictionary and save and then we assign it to a variable d. Okay, and then we said that to create a dictionary, the items are being enclosed in curly braces. All right, these braces. Okay, so this symbol, it's above our, it's on the same key with our square bracket. Just press the shift key and then you get this symbol there. Okay, so any item we put within these braces, okay, is known as a dictionary item. All right, and I also said that a dictionary item comes in pairs, unlike list. All right, unlike list that comes just the value. All right, but here in dictionary they come in pairs, and the first part, the left hand side of that pair, is known as the key. Okay, and the right hand side is known as the pair. Okay, and then these items is being separated with a colon. Okay, so that's how a dictionary item looks like. Okay, so we just make a dictionary of names. All right, okay, of names. Okay, so I'll go ahead and I want to save my okay names here. Right, so I'll go ahead and say, okay, first person. Okay, first person. All right, first person, and this first person we'll call, okay, I'll go with my name again. Okay, and then separate this item with a comma. Okay, and then I have the second person. Okay, and this second person, I have a second person. We go with Shelby. Okay, and then we have the last person, that will be the third person. Okay, and then we go with Alfred. Okay, so now if you notice, all right, if you notice, that's typically how a dictionary looks like. All right, these items are in pairs, the key and then its value. the key and then its value. And the same thing here, the key and then its value. All right. So now the problem here is like I said, anything outside a string, okay, is regarded as a variable in Python. Okay. So now if you notice these keys, all right, these keys here are not in strings, okay? They're not in strings, right? But if you execute this, we have an error of first person not defined, okay? So now, so if the key you are using, okay, it's a string, okay, we enclose it in we enclose it in quotations, okay? So let's say that this is a string, all right, and this is also a string in Python. So now, even if it's a key that actually points to a value, all right, we have to enclose it in a string, okay? If not, Python will throw up an error for us of of variable name, face of variable not defined, okay? So we'll just go ahead and wrap this up with quotations and there and there and then here as well, right? So now so now how do we print out a dictionary? We print it out like every other object in Python, okay? We'll just print them using the print command, and then we put in the variable name there, D, and then we save and execute. And that is how a dictionary looks like in Python, okay? Remember, they come in pairs. A dictionary item comes in pairs. The first part is the key and the last part is the value, okay? Key, value, key here again, and then value there, okay? All right, so that's how you create a dictionary in Python. So now, they have what they call an empty dictionary, which we already know because we've known an empty string and as well as an empty list, okay? So like we're saying here, the empty dictionary is a curly bracket with no items in it, okay? And it's equivalent to a list with no bracket with no items in it, or a string with no item in it, okay? So if we create a new variable, okay, if we create a new variable here and we say D, okay, sorry, A, all right, and then a curly bracket with nothing in it. If we go ahead and execute and print out A, all right, nothing, we should expect to see nothing because there's nothing in that dictionary. You just have the curly braces there, okay? Which this is similar to this, to saying this, okay? This is similar to this, all right? That's a list, an empty list, and we have nothing there, okay? Also equivalent to this with nothing in it. And then we execute this and nothing shows there. Okay, so the len function again, okay? So now we've used the len function and we know what it does, okay? It returns how many items is there in a dictionary. We've used it with list, we've used it with string, okay? It performs the same function with dictionary. So let's say for example, this our dictionary that has 3 items in it, okay? If I go ahead and print the len of dictionary D, okay, dictionary D, we should have 3 there as the number as the total number of items, you know, in that dictionary, in the dictionary, okay. So okay, another thing about dictionary is one important thing, okay. There's a difference between dictionary and list, okay, is that in dictionary duplicate, you cannot duplicate item. Like an item cannot have the same key, okay? If there's an item that exists with this dictionary, okay, within this our dictionary here, all right, that has the same key, okay, that has the same key. What happens is that the last key, the last item with that key name will override the first item with the key name, okay? Okay, I will explain that. All right. So let's say we have another key. Okay, let's say we have another item. Let's say we have another item. All right, let's say we have another item here. Okay, all right, okay. Yes, okay. I think someone said that does not on he not really get the expansion of a dictionary. All right, so for the we will go back and start from here again. So dictionary, all right. Okay, so now, like I said, dictionary is the same, is similar, okay, similar, or should I say equivalent to a list, okay. So now, what was a list? Like we said, we said that a list is a collection of items in separated by a comma and then enclosed within a square bracket, all right. So similar thing with a dictionary, okay. A dictionary is also a collection of items, okay, enclosed, but the difference is that in dictionary it is enclosed within a curly bracket. The curly bracket is found above your square bracket, the same key. You have to punch the shift and then the square bracket key, and then you get that, and then you get this square bracket, right? So now a dictionary is being enclosed in a curly braces, all right? Now the difference between a dictionary and a list is a dictionary comes, each item comes in pairs, okay? They come in twos, all right? They come in twos. Each item of a dictionary comes in twos, all right? They they exist in pairs. That is twos, okay? That is twos, okay? They exist in pairs, okay? And then each item and this pairs, okay? These pairs that are now separated with a colon, okay? Okay, so you have the first pair, we have the first pair, we have the first pair separated with a colon, and then we have the second pair, okay? And then we have a second pair, all right? So now I also said that the first pair, this first pair, okay, that I said that the first pair is known as, okay, is known as, the first pair is known as the key, all right? The key, or should I, or we can say more like the index, all right? That's in the case of lists, in the case of list, okay? In the case of list, all right? And then the second pair, okay? The second pair is known as the value, okay? As the value itself, all right? It's not as the value, right? So now, in order to create a dictionary, we have to enclose this item in a square bracket, all right? So now, a typical example of dictionary would be to start with a curly bracket there, and then and close it with a curly bracket. So now, whatever is inside these braces, all right, will be known as a dictionary item. And how are dictionary item being written? In pairs, all right? So the first pair we said is the first pair we said that is the key, all right? So now okay, so now I can assume the first pair to be an animal, okay? Like the key to be an animal, right? And then the key will be, let's say, an antelope, right? Antelope. Antelope. Right, I think that's the antelope, all right? So now we separate this item with a comma. So I can go ahead and have another item. I can have, okay, so I say I can have I can have a number, all right? I can have a number as a key there, num, all right? And then its value, I can have 100, all right? There. I can go ahead, I can also have a name, all right? I can have a name there as a key. I can go at the value there, I can put in savior, all right? I can put in savior, all right? So that's basically how dictionary works, all right? That's how a dictionary works. So now, a dictionary, since, okay, now, and I said that the key, all right, that anything outside quotation, okay, in Python is either known as a variable or a number, okay? So if something is not in quotations like this, it's either a variable or a number, okay? So now if I take out this quotation for the first key here, okay? If I take a quotation for the first key and execute this, all right, we have animal. The spelling is wrong, so animal not defined, all right? So now Python will see that thing as a variable. That so now when Python goes back to check if it's such variable, it throw up that error. So to avoid this error, what we can do, okay, what we can do is, all right, we can either put it in quotation, all right, you can either put it in quotation, all right, or maybe, all right, we come up there, and assign it as a variable, okay, and assign it as a variable, okay, let's say a variable of x which holds animal, all right, animal there, okay, and then we come down here and then replace the animal with x, all right. With this Python won't show this an error with this, okay. That works very well, okay, that works very well. So that's how you create a dictionary in Python, okay. We enclose these items within a curly braces, and then each item comes in pairs separated. These pairs are being separated with a colon, and the item themselves are being separated with a comma, okay. So I believe I've been able to explain that to the person's understanding now, eh? The person that said that she didn't understand, I believe you understand now. Okay, so okay, so before we went back to explain that, I said that in dictionary we cannot have duplicates, okay. We cannot have duplicates. That means we can't have an item in this dictionary, or in this other dictionary, okay, that has the same key, all right. If that happens, what happens is that Python will replace the Python will replace the value of the last one with the first one. Let me explain that. Let me do that with the code, okay, and then we'll see. All right, so I'll just comment on this for now, or probably I'll just cut this out for now. Let me cut this out and let's stick with one dictionary. Okay, so let's look at the dictionary D. Okay, we have a key, okay, of first name, all right, and this first name contains a value of savior, all right. We have another key here, second name, all right, and this key here contains a value Shelby, all right. And then we have another key of third person, all right, and this key here contains a value Alfred, all right. So now if I come along the dictionary, okay, in the process of adding up items to the dictionary, and we have a duplicate, that we have a key with the same name. So now we have a first name there, and then we come here and then we have another first name, all right, another first name. Okay, come here, okay, another first person, sorry, all right. But this person has a different key, right? So let's say this key, we have Ada, or probably author. Let's stick with author. Author. All right. Okay, author. Okay. So now, what happens here is Python. Okay, Python will, let me try and see if I can cut this. Okay, so I can go ahead and cut this here. All right. So now another thing is another trick is, if you have a long list or a long variable, okay, you can actually cut it. Okay, you can actually cut it after an item into the next line, like what I just did here. After this comma, I cut the other part down here. Okay, that won't show an error. All right. So now we have two keys here that have the same name, all right, but different values, all right. So now ideally this was the first item, all right. Now the other one came in last, all right. So now what Python will do in such situation, Python will replace the first one with author, all right. So now if I execute this list, right, we won't see Savior, Shelby, Alfred, and author. What we will see is author, Shelby, and Alfred, all right. So let's go ahead and execute this code. Okay, I think I'm doing something else. All right, so let's now print the length of the, instead of printing the length of D, let's print D itself, okay? And then we execute this. So now so now we've seen the author that came in last has now replaced the savior that was there, because both of them had the same key. So now we're having author, Shelby, and Alfred, okay? So that is that. with that the basic of dictionary, okay? That's how the dictionary works. But unlike list, all right, unlike list, all right, a list here, let's see a list here, right? My list is a question of item enclosed in square bracket, all right? So now a list, you can have something like 2, 5, 10, okay, upright 19, I think, and then you can have 2 again, all right, and then you can have even 5 again, okay, you can have 5 again. If you go ahead and print L, we will see that list will be exactly the way it is, all right. Nothing will no item will be replaced, all right. So you can see we have saved 2 here, we have 2 here, we have 5 here, we have 5 here, all right, which are the value. But in dictionary, you can't do that. In dictionary, this 2 here will replace this 2 here, and then this 5 here will replace this 5 here. So for what we have here will be 2, 5, 19. The remaining 2 and 5 will be gone. Okay, someone raised his hand and then dropped his hand. Okay, someone hand is still up. What's your question? Go ahead and ask a question.
I actually want to ask. That means the second key now automatically override the first one.
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
All right. So, all right. Someone asked a question here. If you can assign multiple items, can we have multiple items assigned to a key? Can we have multiple items assigned to a single key? Yes, we can have actually we can have a list assigned to a key. Okay. All right. I'll just do it and we see. All right. Someone else had a question. Go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question.
Okay. Thank you. My question is this: since I think Python executes like line by line, right?
Yes, it's a good line by line.
Okay, so why does it have to now replace author that came last?
Okay, so now, if not, this is the last line. Okay, no, this dictionary is more. There are certain functions behind it. Okay, there are certain rules, there are certain code. Okay, behind this dictionary context. Okay, and what that rule says that in a dictionary we cannot have a item with multiple keys. If we do, replace the last one with the first one. It's just like it sees as a constant, like it will happen. Okay, it will happen. It's like a constant. Okay. Okay, just like okay, let's say just like another rule that another rule in Python that says you can't have and you can have something like this, like okay, that says that your variable can start with number. Okay, can start with something like this, like we have a variable 1x is equal to 1x equals to hello. Okay, hello. Okay, and then if we execute this, okay, we have invalid syntax. All right, so Python have these rules behind each of their context. Okay, and in the dictionary context, there's a rule that says that you cannot have multiple keys in one dictionary. Okay, in one dictionary. All right, so it's like a rule. It's like a rule. Have I answered your question? Okay, so I believe I've answered the question. So okay, someone said that if we can have multiple items assigned to a key. Okay, all right, if you want to assign multiple items to a key, all right, okay, you have to put that in a list or probably in dictionary itself again, all right, because a dictionary can only take one value, one straight value. All right, so if that value, let's assume we have another value of names. All right, we have another value of name, and we have to have like we have to have more than one name there. Okay, more than one name there. So what we can actually do is to put this thing in either a list, and we can go ahead and have another one like that says either of Solomon. Okay, Solomon. Okay, Solomon. Okay, so you can actually do that for if you want a key to have multiple items. All right, so if you go ahead and execute this, I'll just take this off and go ahead and print D, dictionary itself. Okay, so now we can have that we have a name item that has more than one value. Okay, inside this name we have Ada and Solomon. Okay, so the person that asked that question on the chat, I believe I've answered your question. Any other question? Okay, so I believe we're on the same page. All right, so we move, right? We move to how can we actually access items in a dictionary. Okay, so far what we've been doing, all right, so far is what we've been doing is printing the entire dictionary. All right, so let's assume that we don't want to output the entire dictionary. Right, you want to output a certain item from the dictionary. Right, so now you know that in a list, all right, in a list, that in order to access a particular item, it will be let me put that down here. It will be the list name. Okay, it will be the list name, and then the index number. Okay, index number, and then with this, all right, with this we can actually access a particular item. All right, but in dictionary, all right, in dictionary, something similar, right, all right, but this time around, instead of putting in the index number, we put in the key. Okay, the key itself there. All right, so now let's assume we want to print let's say the second person in the dictionary, right? So what we would actually do here is we can go ahead and say we should go ahead and print D. That is it's similar to that of a number, all right, of a list. Sorry, that's not a list, this, but instead of putting in the index number, we put in the key itself. So now I want to print Shelby. So now Shelby has a key that points to it, and that key is known as second person. So we go ahead and put in second person here, all right? Second person there. Okay, so it would execute this. All right. I think key error. Okay. Second, sorry, it's a big S, not a small s. Right? Like I said, Python is case sensitive. So if it's big S, use big S. If it's small s, use small s. So I run this again, and then we have Shelby. All right. So that is that we are assessing of a particular item. So now we can see that with dictionary, assessing of items in dictionary is quite simpler than that of a list, because let's say you have a list of about 10 items, right? I want to print a particular index, right? We need to actually count that index so that we can know the actual index of the item we are printing. But in dictionary, okay, in dictionary, that counting is not actually necessary, right? So what you target is like the key name. So even if this item, okay, wasn't there, let's say this item becomes the last item, okay, of this dictionary. All right, so of that, okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't matter, because once you print this, we still have Shelby. But in list, all right, let's say you have a list here again. All right, you have a list here, and then we have something like that. Then we have 10, 20, and then we have 30. All right, now I want to print 20. All right, I have to count 0, 1, so I know which one I'm printing, right? So now I can go ahead and now say print. I can now say print index 1. Okay, sorry, go back at 1 and close this bracket, and then so now if I just comment on this for now, I'll comment on this last part for now, and then if I execute this, okay, I've printed 20. Okay, I've done that successfully. Okay, but what happens, okay, if 20 is no more here, right? If 20 is no more here, if 20 is now the last item, okay, I can now go and save. Now I'm now having a different value. Now I have to come back and start counting again. Where is 20? 0, 1, 2, and now come back and edit it again. All right, and now put 2. there in order to have 20 back, all right? But in dictionary, that doesn't really matter, okay? Like where each item lies in dictionary does not matter. What matters is the key. Once you know the key, you get the item, okay? So, right, so they also another method, okay, of getting this item, and this method is known as dot get, okay? It's not as dot get. It's this. It does the same thing as what this other one does, okay? As what this other one do, okay? As what this other one do, all right? So now this other one now is now the key, and then sorry, it's not the dictionary name and then the key there, all right? So now the other method there we can also say print. Okay, what we want to print here is d dot get, okay? D dot get, and then we now get the and then we now get the key the key name there, right? And then we save this and execute, and it still does the same thing as the other one. So anyone you're conversant with, right? You just use them. It works the same. It works the same. Works the same. Okay, so so now let's assume you want to get all the keys, like you want to get all the keys in the dictionary, right? You want to get all the keys in dictionaries. Like what I mean here is you want to print, instead of printing the entire dictionary, okay? You want to print only the keys, like you want to know the keys in the dictionary, all right? So now what we can do, all right? So now this other one here, let me comment on this. This other one here, I believe you guys are hearing me properly, right? Okay, so this other one here, what it does now is it prints a particular item, all right? Item, all right? So now you want to, instead of printing a particular item, you want to print all the keys, all right? All the keys. So currently, how many keys do we have in this dictionary currently? How many keys are here in this dictionary? How many keys do we have in this dictionary so far?
Three.
Three.
We have 5.
Yeah. Five.
Oh, we have 4. We have 4.
4.
Oh.
Okay. What exactly?
First, second, third, and name.
First, second, third, and names. Okay. Yeah. All right. So so now to get all these keys, right? To get all these keys, we do this. Now we do key the dictionary name dot keys, right? This dot keys is a function, all right? Is an inbuilt function to dictionary. Okay, so once this is applied, this method is being applied on a dictionary, all right? Python knows, okay, you need all the keys, and Python will automatically give you all the keys, right? We have a similar method also called the values, all right? This one does like the opposite of the other one. Instead of getting all the keys, all right? This other one now get all the values, all right? So let's just see that, all right? Let's see that. So now what I will do here is assign this to like a variable x, all right? And then I'll go ahead and do d. That's a dictionary, all right? Dot keys, all right? Dot keys. Now, when Python sees this, all right, when Python sees this, that this is being applied to D, it checks, well, what is D? Comes down and see, okay, D is a dictionary. Now knows, all right, I'm to print out all the keys in this dictionary. So if you go ahead and print that X there, right? If you go ahead and print X there, you get all the keys. Let me comment on the other one too. Comment on this. And comment on this other one too. Okay, so now if you go ahead and run this again, we get all the keys, all right? Now, if you notice, we have first name here, we have first name here, but since they're the same key, and then what pattern does is it replace these keys. So now we just take one of it, all right, which is first name, the third name, names here, and then second name. And this is in a list. If it's seen, this is a list. This is a square bracket here. So anything within square brackets is list, all right? So this is a list of all the keys in the dictionary, all right? So we just do the same for the values, all right? It's just the same. So for the sake of laziness, I'll copy this, and then paste it again. That's there. And then we print all the values, all right? We print all the values. So now instead of performing the keys function, all right, we now perform the value method, right? We now perform the values method on this dictionary. Now, if we go ahead and print this, we should see both keys and values in separate lists, all right? So now, and now we've seen, see, we have dict keys. This is a default name for that comes with that method, okay? That comes with that method. I have dict values, all right? So now this now means that these are all the values that we have on that dictionary, and these are all the keys we have in that dictionary as well, okay? Okay, so is there a question about that? All right, is there a question about getting a particular index, or sorry, a particular value, or probably printing out all the entire keys there or values there? Is there a question there? Okay, so I believe that was clear. Okay, so another thing is to check if a particular key exists, all right? So now if you could remember the keyword in, okay? Now we say that keyword is used to check if a particular item is in a particular is in a list or a string or a dictionary. The same thing applies with a. Okay, I'll get back to that question. I'll answer that question. How can we use input function in a dictionary? All right, I'll show you how that is done. Okay, so sorry, where was I again? Okay, so the in keyword, right? The in keyword. Now we've used this keyword before. Now we used it in strings. We used it in list. All right. So now it does the same thing. All right. It checks if something, and now we know that we can't just use the in keyword directly. Right. We have to join, like use it probably with the if block. All right. So now we can use to check if a particular key, okay, exists in a dictionary or in a list. All right. So I just write a quick example. So I should cut this out. The screen is getting full, but I'll cut all this out. So I'll cut all of them out there. Okay. So let's say we have a list here. All right. We have a list. I have a list of the list is enclosed in a square bracket. All right. So we have a list of I'll just copy few items here and put in there. Okay. Just type it. So Shelby, and then we have Thomas. All right. Thomas. All right. So now the in keyword we constructed it with the if block. All right. Remember the if block that says if a certain condition, okay, and then a colon, and then a certain code to execute, right? Remember this, right? Code to execute. Okay. So now this condition here, that's where we now bring in the if, sorry, the in keyword to use to check if a particular thing exists, right? So now you can now say if, right, we want to check that if either, okay, do exist, if either do exist in L, okay, in L, right? So now what do? We want to say we want to now say, okay, print that either is in the list. All right, that is the list. Okay. So now if you go ahead and execute this, okay, and then we have either is in the list. Okay, you have either is in the list because either is actually in the list. Now if for any reason we put something else for there, okay, something like let's say savior, right? Savior, if you go ahead and execute this, nothing happen because we don't have actually we haven't connected an else block for just in case that connection does not hold. Okay, so I'll go ahead and construct an else block there. So if either is either there or not there, all right? It's either there or not there. So if it's there, say either is in the list, else if it's not there, either it's not in the list. Okay, the list.
Hello, sir.
Right? Okay. Question.
Yeah, so I was thinking it will not print because since it is case sensitive, and the one you asked it to print is capital letter, while the other one is small letter.
Yes. Okay. Okay. All right.
It will print too.
It will print. Okay.
Because it's a string.
Because this is a string, all right, and this string is not dependent on that condition, all right. So this is a condition. Whatever happens here is okay. It's not dependent on this condition, all right. So this will work, all right. So now if okay, let me go out there. Okay. So now, what Python will compare with, okay, is the one here, all right? Is the one here, right? That Python compares with the checks in the L, right? Not actually this one, all right? This one only executes, all right? If this condition here is true, all right? So if I did something like this, hey, that's when not tell us that header is not there, okay? Because it is case sensitive, all right? I thought my quotation there, okay? And then we run this and have header is not in the list, all right? That because this is what is being used to check, all right, to do the comparison, all right. So if I change it to cap to small to lowercase again, all right, it will now show that header is in the list, okay. So I believe I've cleared that confusion there, okay. So now whatever is going on here is not dependent, is independent of this condition, all right. So this is the only thing that Python checks for, this here. This one here and not this one here, okay. So now that this was how we use the in with the list, all right. So now the same thing happens in dictionary, okay. The same thing happens in dictionary, right? We just construct it the same way in dictionary, okay. So now if you say if either in L, so now instead of saying in L, we say in D, okay. It's now be in D, not L now, right? So now because this is not the dictionary here, all right. So now what actually happens is that in the list, this thing checks for the value here, right? For the value, right? For the show this value. But in dictionary, what it checks across is the key. The key, all right? The key is there. So if I do this, I should have that either is not in the dictionary, okay? It's not that either is a dictionary key, okay? Same thing, not a dictionary key. Not a dictionary key. All right. So now if I go ahead and execute this, all right, the other either is not a dictionary key. That's because if you look at these keys, look at the keys for a dictionary, not the value, the keys, all right? You don't have any key that's either, okay? But we have a key that's first name, third name, second name, and then names, right? So I just I'll go ahead and put in I'll go ahead and put in names here, right? Names there, and then we execute this. I thought that header is a dictionary key, right? But if you see name, it's a dictionary key there, right? So how can we make that dynamic, all right? Instead of doing this, how can we make this dynamic, all right? What we can do is we can say that X, all right? You can say that X, all right, here is equals to names, all right? You can do that, right? And then we can now come here and say X is X in D, which means it's name in D, right? I know that I haven't taught you guys string formatting, all right? But I've sent out the slide. I don't know if you guys have gotten the slide. In that slide, in the string slide, okay, I've included string formatting and I've explained it to the lowest point, all right? So may look at the slide, may looking at the slide, you understand string formatting. So I'll go ahead and use string formatting here, all right? In that slide, I think after there's actually 4 ways of doing string formatting in Python, all right? I've talked about 3 ways, okay? After the 3 ways, I've left one out because one is a little bit complicated for this track, okay? So I left one out. So if you haven't gotten the stripe, sorry, if what's going on with strike? If you haven't gotten the slide, then probably this night, all right, the slide will be given to you guys, okay? So now I'll just do string formatting here to make this more dynamic, all right? So one of the way we can format string, okay, in Python, we have what we call f string, all right? So I'll use the f string method that requires to put f at the beginning of a string. It requires you to include f in the beginning of a string there. All right, then the variable we use to pass into the string, we put it in a curly bracket, all right, in a curly bracket there. And Python will just do his thing, okay? So I'm putting x there, I'm putting x here, right? What I'm doing is I'm just trying to make this dynamic, okay? Now I think it's part of the course, just trying to make part of the lesson, just trying to make it dynamic, okay? So if I go ahead and execute this, we have that names is in dictionary key, okay? So even if I come here and now search for first name, okay? I go ahead and search for first name, right? First person, sorry, it's first person, all right? If I execute this, I can now see that first person is a dictionary key, which is true, because here it is, it's a key, all right? See that if I just go and put in first there, okay? I can have that first is not a dictionary key. All right, so that's how we use the in keyword to check if a particular key exists in a dictionary, okay? So we construct it with the if block, all right, and then we have that done. Is there any question about that? Okay, so that is understood because we've actually done that before using lists. All right, so another thing is, how do we change values in a dictionary? Okay, how do we change values in dictionaries? All right, well, it's pretty easy. It's almost similar with list, all right, almost similar with list, but remember, with list we require an index, all right, but in dictionary, everything in dictionary require a key, all right? Everything that has to do with dictionary, okay, that requires that you want to point to a particular value, okay, you need a key. But for lists and a string, okay, you need an index, all right? So you should note that, okay, that when you want to target a particular value in dictionary, you need a key, okay? But in list and string, you need an index, all right? Okay, so now we can say that a dictionary targeting a value, an element in a dictionary is more dynamic, okay? Because it does not depend on its location, all right? It does not depend on its location. But for a list and string, the location is needed, all right? If you change the location, we end up having something else, okay? But for dictionary, you can change that location, and we still have the correct value. So how do we change a value in dictionary, right? So now I said that here that we can change a value of a specific item by referring to its key name, right? A simple example here, okay, but we'll do that with our list here. So I'll go ahead and cut this out. Sorry, we'll do that with our dictionary here. So now, let's say I don't want, let's say that I don't want the second okay, that I don't want these names, right, to be a list anymore, right? I want this name to be a single name, Solomon, all right? Now what I can do is to remember we use the dictionary name G, all right, and then in square brackets, the key name, all right? So the key name there is names, all right? Now with this, all right, with this, if we print this, which we have done, which we've done, okay, we've done this before. If we print this, right, you get the value, of that key, all right? We get the value of that key there, right? So if you run this, you save and then okay. If you run this, sorry. Okay, if you run this,
it's meant to be names, not names.
Not
okay,
names.
so, okay, sorry, names. All right. So if you run this, right, oh sorry, small s. What's going on, man? Small s. Okay, small s. So now we have Ada as Solomon, all right? So now we've targeted that value, right? So now what we can do is we can now assign a new value, all right? We can now assign a new value to it now, right? Using the assignment sign there, right? And I said I want that place now to be Solomon. Okay, Solomon, all right? And then if I go ahead and print D again, if I go ahead and print the dictionary there again, so now names should just be one there, and there it is, names as Solomon. Okay, names as Solomon. So that's how you change a value of an element in dictionary. Okay, you target this name and then you assign a new value to it, and this is how you target the key name. D, then in square brackets the key name, okay, and then you assign a new value, and that will change. All right. So there's another method, okay. There's another method also, and this method is called the update method. So now, the way this method works, okay, is it takes the new item you wish to assign, like the new value, sorry, you want to assign to a particular key. It takes that item as an iterable item, right? Iterable object in the sense such as we have lists, right? Because you can actually look through lists. That is any object in Python that you can look through. Okay, it takes it in that form, and then this form must come in pairs, right? It must come in pairs, right? So now look at this, all right? Now we have a dictionary called G, right? This dictionary has two elements here, right? The name element and as well as the year element, right? And the name has a value called Savior and the year has a value called 2019, all right? So now I want to change the value of year to 2000, all right? So now this update now, right, takes in iterables, and this iterable comes in pairs, which is as the year, and that is the key of whatever you want to update, and then the new value, right? So, let me just write that out. Let me just write the code here, and then probably you understand that. Now, this is method one, right? I just go ahead and comment on this. This is method one. Okay, that's method one. So method two says that we can use a keyword for updates, all right? A keyword called update. Oh God. A keyword called updates, all right? And the way this one works, okay, it takes in the new the new value as a dictionary pair, okay, as a pair. So now let's say we want to update D. What we can do, D dot update, all right? Dot update. So now what we are updating here is what we're updating here now is, since this is a function, okay, and this function takes in iterables, that's it, dictionary for example, or list or tuples, right? So now if you're using dictionary, what you do, this thing takes in the pay, because since you're dealing with dictionary, okay, so anytime you're updating using the update function, you must put it as a pay, all right? And the first pay is the key, okay, where in D, all right, do you wish to update, all right? That's the first page. Okay, that's just say the location, all right? Let's say that's the first page, and then the second page now is the new value, okay? The new value, all right? So now if you look at this list, this dictionary here now, right? I want to update the location of second person, all right? So if I go ahead and put in second person here, second person, all right? Person. And then I give it the new value that I wish it to be. Okay, I don't wish it to be Shelby anymore, right? I don't wish it to be, I wish it to be Tom. Okay. I don't think anyone that plays Tom in this our class. No one plays Tom. Okay. So now I want it to be Tom, all right? That's the second method now. So now if I execute this, let me comment this out for now. But if I execute this, all right, this works, this works has this as well, all right? So now it will go to this dictionary at the location of second person and then update for whatever value that second person holds there, all right? So if I execute this, second person should now be holding Tom, all right? So I'll go ahead and run this, and then we've seen second person, all right? It's now Tom. Okay. Is there a question with that method, or will you just stick to method one, or we go ahead and use method two? But anyway, both of them work the same. Okay, they work the same. So whichever one you're confident with, you use it. All right. That's how we use either of them to update a value in a dictionary. Is there a question there? Any question? Okay, so I believe there's no question. All right. So now how do we add value? All right, how do we add value? How do you add how do you add a new item to a dictionary? Okay. Oh, okay. So before we do that, right? Before we do that, there was a question here. Okay, a question: how do we get input function? Dictionary. That how do you use the input function to get dictionary? All right, similar to list. Okay, similar to list. Okay, so I'll just cut this as for now. So now let's say I want a new D. A new D. Let me answer that question. Almost forgot it. A new D. D new, right? So now I want this dictionary to be entered from the user, like from the user side, right? Not actually defined here in our code. All right. So now you can still use the eval function. All right. I'll use the eval function, and then put in the input there, and then we ask the user to enter your dictionaries. A dictionary. All right. Give a little space to make it neat. Then we close that. Then we go ahead and what we print is we want to print out this new D. Want this to be printed out. All right. Want it to be printed out. So if I execute, let's execute this. All right. So let's go ahead and put in our dictionary. So now I say first dictionary. Then I say hello as a value. Then I have another one, second, as the key, and then I have world as the value. Okay. So now if I enter this, you can have that. Okay. So because I asked that question, I believe I've answered that question. Okay. All right. So now that question has been answered. All right. So now, how do we add value to a dictionary? All right. How do you add value to a dictionary? Right. We still have two methods of doing this as well. Right. First method is this, and second method is the update function again. All right. So now, the first method we target. So now the first method, right? Instead of targeting a key that have existed, okay, we now bring in a new key, all right? Now bring in a new key, all right? So if I say D, all right, of a key that is not there in the dictionary, right? Of a new key that's not in the dictionary, right? There's a first person key, there's a third person key, there's a names key, and there is a second person key. So now if I come here and now say fruit key, all right, fruit, all right, and now we see that there's no fruit in that, all right, and then we assign a value to this, right? We assign a value to this. I mean, assign something like apple, all right, apple there to it, right? If we print D, what Python does is, if we print D, what Python will do is, Python will check the dictionary, all right, and confirm, all right, there is no key fruit, and now create a new key, like a new item there with the key fruit, and now assign the value apple to it. So now if we execute this, we should see fruit as a new element in this dictionary. Okay, so now with that, if you see it's now the last one there here, all right, fruit, and then apple has the value, all right. Same thing with the update, all right. Same thing with the update, all right. So this method one again. This is method one. I'll go ahead and do method two. Okay. Go ahead and do method two there, all right. So now remember just like the previous one, all right. We have D and then we put the updates there. Okay. And then this update, remember, it takes in its values as pair, because since we are dealing with dictionary and dictionary items comes in pair, right? So now it takes in a dictionary again, and then instead of targeting a key that have existed in the dictionary, okay, we target a key that has not existed, all right. So I'll comment this out that this key will not is this, and then we do the same thing here. So now I'll just copy this paste there. Remember, that is location, right? Now Python will now look for location fruit, right? If it's not here, Python will create that new location fruit, and then we now assign apple, okay, to it. So if you run this, we see the same list that we saw previously with fruit in it now, all right. So now here is fruit here again, all right, and apple as the value, okay. So that's how you add items to dictionary, okay. That's how you add items to dictionary. So question, any question about that? Okay, so complete, no question. All right, so now removing item from a dictionary. Now we've done how to change the value of an item. Now we've just finished how to add item to dictionary, and now how do we remove an item, all right. So there are different ways to actually remove items from a dictionary, right? Now we have the pop method, right? The pop method, right? So now what this pop method does, it removes the item with a specified key name. So now this one, you have to specify the key name, and now Python will now go through that dictionary and identify the key name and then remove it, and then remove that item. Okay. Now we have another one called pop item. This one does not take in any argument. You don't specify which key you wish to remove. Okay. This one will automatically remove the last item. You actually remove the last item on that dictionary. Okay. So now another one is the Dell. Okay, is the Dell keyword, which we've used it before we list. Okay, so it does the same thing with the list. Okay, the same thing that it does with the list. It does it the same with dictionary. Okay, now this keyword removes item with a specified key name. Okay, it removes item with a specified key name, almost like pop. Okay, almost like pop there. But these other ones too can also delete an entire dictionary, can delete an entire dictionary, okay? Well, pop, okay, pop cannot delete an entire dictionary, but the Dell keyword can delete an entire dictionary, all right? So the around method is, instead of deleting the entire dictionary, so that the dictionary does not exist at all, we can actually clear all the values in the dictionary, okay? We can actually clear all the values in the dictionary. So now this one deletes completely, and this one transform the dictionary, okay, to an empty dictionary, the clear method, all right? So it's so that it says here the clear method empties the dictionary, okay? More like it transforms the dictionary to an empty dictionary, okay? So we will run through this method one by one, and then we will see how it works, okay? So I'll just cut this out, right? I'll cut this out real quick. And all right, so the first thing we had there was pop, all right? So now the way pop works is you have to specify an argument, and that argument must be a valid key name. That's a key name that actually exists in the dictionary, okay? A key name that actually exists in the dictionary. So now if I go ahead and say, so now to pop, first of all, since this thing are method, all right, you must specify the dictionary name first, and then the dot method, and then the method, and then the method, okay? The method, which is pop, all right? So now pop, we say that it takes in an argument, and this argument is a valid key name, all right? So I cannot come here and say pop savior, all right? I cannot come here and say pop savior, all right? This thing will throw an error, all right? Because savior is not a valid key name. So if I execute this, we have that key error. We have key error, meaning that key name does not exist, all right? So a name here must be valid. It must be something that actually exists, all right? So now if I come here and then I delete names, right? I delete names, all right? So now names item, this item will be removed from this dictionary. So now what we will see is first, third, and second, all right? So if I go ahead and execute this, so we're having first, third, and second with names gone, all right? So now that's how the pop works, all right? The other one is pop items, all right? Pop item with no S, okay, with no S, pop item, right? Now this one does not require you to specify a key. This one does not require you to specify a key. This one does not specify you to specify a key, okay? So what this one does is it will delete the last item on the dictionary. So currently this dictionary second name is the last item here, right? Now if you execute this dictionary, you should not see second name again, all right? It should be gone. So execute this. Now we see that we have first name, third name with names, all right? And then second name is gone, okay? And then second name is gone, all right? So next one there is the Dell, all right? So I say that the Dell delete is more like the pop method. Someone is. Okay, so Dell is more like the pop, is just like the pop, okay? But the difference between the pop and Dell is that the Dell can actually delete the entire list and make it not to exist again in the program, but the pop can't do that, right? So now, how do we use the Dell? We specify, use the Dell function, okay? And then we specify what are we deleting, right? What are we deleting in the dictionary, right? Now we say we are deleting what? Names. Let's do names again, right? Let's do names again, all right? So now if I go ahead and execute this, names should not be there, again. Okay, all right. Sorry. Yeah, I want to add my square brackets. So if I execute this again, you see names is all the list, it's all dictionary. Sorry, we have first name, we have third name, we have second name with no names and key there again anymore, right? So another thing that Dell can do is it can actually delete the list. So if you do del D, we have that D does not exist again. Like from this point down, from the del point down, this variable does not exist. This entire structure does not exist again. Okay. So if I execute this, you have that D is not defined. That's an error you get when a variable is not found in Python. Okay. So that's how powerful the del is. All right. So I'll just take this off. To be safe, to still see our dictionary, and yep, our dictionary again back there. All right. So now clear. All right, clear. So I say that clear is more like saying it's more like converting this. Okay, more like converting this to an empty string. Okay, to an empty string. So now instead of deleting the entire dictionaries and in a way that Python will tell you that this dictionary does not exist, we can actually
Okay, so guys, sorry, your trainer is having a bit of a technical issue, so he'll be back shortly, please.
Okay. Can everyone hear me? Okay. Sorry for that interruption. My network provider is very wonderful. Sorry about that. My network my network went to emergency mode. I had to switch network. Okay, so we'll continue. We'll continue. So we're saying okay, so we've talked about all this method, okay? And we said that the pop removes item with a specified key name, and that's that the pop item removes item, the last inserted item in a dictionary, and then the key can do what the pop does also, and also add additional function, which is you can delete a particular item with a specified key name, okay, and it can also delete the entire dictionary completely, okay. It can also delete the entire dictionary completely, okay. So, then the clear method empties the entire dictionary. That it's transform the entire dictionary to an empty dictionary. Okay. So now, all right, looping in dictionary. All right, looping in dictionary. All right. So now we've done these things. We've done looping with list. All right. We've done looping with string. Okay. Now we are going to do loop again with dictionary. Okay. We are going to do loop again with dictionary, and normally we have these two kinds of loop, right? Like not kind of like kinds of loop, two method of looping, all right? Two method of looping using for loop, right? So our method number one, okay, let me just do a good example with lists so we can actually remember how that works. So now let's say we have a list here, right? We have a list of 10, okay, we have 20, we have 30, we have 40, and we have 50, right? We have 50 there. All right, let me use capital L. Okay, so now if you wanted to loop through this, all right, there are two methods of looping through this, all right. One of the method is you can say for, remember that the for loop, all right, our for constructs, we have the for and then the variable name, okay, the variable name and then the in function, the in keyword, sorry, and then the range function, all right, and this range function takes in certain values, okay, certain values. So, and I said that instead of hard coding this value, like so that and ending up having as a index range, like out of range, okay, we can use the len function, okay, which will always give us the number of items, the exact number of items in that list. So you can use len of this, okay, and then we can actually go and then we add our column, and then we go ahead and print out the variable name, okay, print out the variable name here, okay. So now for the variable name, right, I'm using I'm using I, so I'll just replace the variable name here with I, and replace the other one here as well with I, okay, with I, okay, and I'll comment this out for now. So if you execute this, right, if you execute this, okay, what should we have? What is the expected output of this loop?
10, 20, 30, 40, and 50.
10, 20, 30, 41,
40, and 40. Yes.
Any other person with a different answer? Any other person with a different answer?
You have the index. You have
the index.
List of index numbers.
Okay, so we have the list of index numbers. Okay, so let's execute this and then we'll see. Let's execute this and see. Let's execute this and see. Okay, so all right, so now we have the index number, right? So now remember I said that each time we add the range function, okay? Each time we add a range function to a for loop, like we use a range function with a for loop, Python automatically assign a certain number to this variable here, okay? It automatically assigns a number to this variable, and that number happens to be the to keep track of where the loop is, okay? Since this, right, since I didn't actually start this from 1, so remember in a range can take up to 3 arguments. The first argument is the starting argument, and then the stopping arguments, the middle one, and then the last one, okay? So since I didn't actually specify the starting argument, this number will automatically start from 1, okay? So if I do something like this, if I add 1 here, okay, that number will start from 1, okay? I was going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? If I move that 1, it start from 0 again, okay? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, all right? So now, I now said that if we like with this for loop like this, all right, with this kind of construct here, I'm making use of the length of L, that this number here will always be equal to the index number of this, okay? So if I execute this, we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? If you look at this list and compare this output with this list, then you see that this list will all be this output will always be exactly the same, the total number of index in this list. So now if we have index 0, index 1, index 2, index 3, index 4, okay? So anytime we use this len function, this I will always hold the index, will always be equal to the total index in this list. So even if we add more of this, okay, more of this, we add 70 there, we add 80 here, we add 90, and we had 100 there, okay? The I will always be equals, the I will always be equals, equal to the index of that list, okay? So now I also said that if we do something like this, okay, if you come here now say print, so now that you know that the I is always equal to the index of that list when we use the len function, and then we also know that to print out a particular item, we do L and then the index, right, and then the index number, right? That's how we do to print an element in the list, right? So now with that, we can now see that since I will always be equal to the total index here, okay, when we use the len, all right, that means we can also say that we can also bring in this, this idea here, all right, and then we can now say L, and then we print I, since I will always be the index of will always be the index of this list here, right? So now I'll just print this out and then we see, but I'll put an empty print here so that we have spaces after each loop. So I print this. It's very long. Okay, so now if you've seen, right, let's look at this. Look at this. So all right, so this the output, all right, and this is the code. Now I said that I is always equal to, when we use the len function, that I is always equal, will always be equal to the index, the total index of that list, of the list L, okay? So now when we say that I is now 0, if you now put 0, if you now do L of 0, you have the element 10. Now I is now 1, which is also equal to that index of, which is also equals to that index in that list. Now, if you go ahead and do L of index 1, L of 2, of that I now, we now have 30, and so on and so forth. So that's how so with this, we can actually, with this now, okay, we can print, with this, we can now print the index of each element in the list. Okay, this I here will always print all the index here in this list. Okay, and the other one now will print the element itself with itself. Okay, or should I say will print the element. We print the element with the specified index there. Okay, so I did not understand this code. I don't understand what this code here does. So I believe you all understand. Okay, all right. So same thing with the dictionary. Okay. With the dictionary, all right. So now what we can do dictionary, okay, we can. So this was method 1 of this list, all right. This was method 1 of this list of this loop, all right. This was method 1, all right. So now we have another method of looping through a list or a string, right? Now this other method, we now say that we can do for. So this other method, I said that we can do for j. Instead of using the range, you can actually use the list number itself. So you can say for j in L, okay, and then we go ahead and print j. Okay, we go ahead and print j. All right. So I'll comment on this for now. Comment on this, all of this for now. Okay. So now we go ahead and print j. All right. If I execute this, right, notice now this actually does not print the index. Okay, does not print the index. Instead, it prints the item itself. Right. The other one printed the index. If you print the other one, if you print the variable here, it prints the index. But here it prints. If you print the variable here, it prints the element itself here. Okay, so now you can also the same since we did this to get the element number, we can actually do this also to have the index. Okay, so we can actually do this. What we can do is we can do this. Oh, sorry, we can do this. You can say L dot index of element itself. Okay, the element itself. So now, similar to this other one, you can also now say that you can also go ahead and print. I think we have double added. Also print, instead of printing J now, you can now print L dot index of J. All right, since J will now be printing the element itself. All right, so now this other one now will be the same thing that is going to happen here. Okay, so if we go ahead and we print this, let's put in an empty line, and then we see. So now here we have the element itself, the index. The element itself, the index. And look at it, we have 10. We have 10, and then we have the index. We have 20, and then we have the index. 30, and then we have the index. Okay. So the same principle applies. The same principle applies with dictionary. Okay. Same principle applies with dictionaries. This same principle applies with dictionary. All right. So now, for dictionary, I think our screen is getting messy. I should clean stuff up. Okay. Is there anyone that has problem understanding this code? Okay. Is there anyone that has problem understanding this code? All right. So I believe that code is understood. Okay, because we've done it several times. I think this is like the fourth time we are doing this. We did it with okay, the third time. We did it with string, we did it with list, and this is the third time, right? So we are going to do the same thing again, all right? But this time around with dictionary. So now I said that this thing has two methods, or they always has two methods. Okay, so method one. Remember our method one. Oh gosh. Method one. Okay, method one is actually the ones that method one is actually the ones. Excuse me. Okay, from method one. Well, okay, now method one is actually the ones that print the index, right, in a list or in string. But since we don't have index since we don't have index in dictionary, what we have keys, all right? We have keys in dictionary, all right? So now what we can do is we can now say for I in D, right? For I in D. So this, if you go ahead and print this, right? If you print I now, right? If you print I now, okay, if you print I now and execute. Now this returns the keys, right? This returns the keys in that it returns the keys. That's because we don't have index in dictionary, all right? So I'll bring in list again. If I say this is, if I say 10, 20, 30, okay? And then I change here. Instead of saying for I in D, I say for I in L, okay? This one now actually prints the element itself, all right? But if you apply this to dictionary, the dictionary will apply, will print out the keys, okay? This will print out the keys, all right? So now, if this method, okay, if this is printing out the key, if the I is printing out the keys, all right, and then remember that to print a value in dictionary, all right, to print a value in dictionary, we need something like this. We need a dictionary name. So we need a dictionary. The key name. Okay, yeah, we need the key name, which is key name, and then in square brackets. No, not something else. So now, sorry. So now I said to print now in dictionary, okay, to print a value, okay, we need the dictionary name. Okay, sorry. We need a dictionary name. Sorry, the dictionary name. The dictionary name, okay, and then followed by value. Sorry, the key, right? The key name. Right, that's how we actually print a value in. So now this is how we print a value in dictionary, all right? And then look at this our loop, all right? This our loop here prints out the keys, all right? It prints out the keys for us, all right? Now, how do we actually execute? How do we actually print values instead of key? So now we can copy this loop, same thing, okay, but just apply small logic there, all right? So now, since this will give us key names, okay, key names, all right? So now we can come in here, instead of printing the key names, we can come in here and write this to get the values. So now you can now say dictionary name, which is D, and then in square brackets, I, because since I will always hold dictionary names, all right? And then we put I there. And if we execute this, if I comment on this other one up there, if we execute this and save, and now we're not having values, okay? We're not having values instead of keys, all right? And the other one now was not give us the keys. So just repeat that loop and add small logic, all right? Since this loop here will always give us keys, and to print a value in dictionary, we need a dictionary name and then the key. can use that loop, and instead of printing I, we now do this. We now do this, right? We now do this inside this loop, which is the key, the dictionary name in square brackets I, which I will always be equal to the key names in the dictionary. I did not understand. Raise your hand. I don't understand this loop. Hard loop works with dictionary. Okay, on this and ask a question, and let's see where people having difficulties.
Honestly, if you can just go back. I'm not sure I understand this at all.
Okay. Another person rest is high. Okay, so person has dropped their hand. Okay, we have 12 minutes left. All right, we have 12 minutes left, and right. Okay, we have one more copy. This is copy of dictionary. All right. All right. Okay. Let's just take this, and then we go back and we explain that loop. All right. So now we'll go back and we explain it again. All right. So now, but this. So now I said that to copy that I said in our list class that lists are mutable, meaning that even if you make copy of a list and then make this to one copy, it affects the other copy. All right. Same thing happens with dictionary. Dictionary is mutable, so meaning that if meaning that yes, it's okay. So now then change the value of dictionary. It affects. Come back and I'll explain this. Okay, I'll come back. I'll explain this. All right, I'll explain this again before our time runs out. I'll explain that again. So let's just look at copy, right? So let's say we have. Okay, so now let's say that we have want to make a copy of this dictionary, all right? So now what we would do is say D, new, right? And then we assign it to an existing dictionary, that is D, all right? Meaning that if I should print D, and also print new, and also print new D, also print D of new, okay? Okay, that means I should see the same dictionary, right? So, which you've seen, we have the same dictionary there, right? Same dictionary. So now, I want a situation, okay? If I where if I want a situation that if I go ahead, okay, if I go ahead and change a value, say if I go ahead and change the value in D, okay, it does not affect the newly copied list, all right? That means if I should change first person, if I go ahead and change first person, okay, if I go ahead and change first person, remember to put it in quotation. Okay, but if I go ahead and change first person, so okay, from Savior to Emmanuel, okay, Savior to Emmanuel, right? This effect, I expect it to work only in the D, okay, I expect this effect to only happen here. So this, okay, should take effect here, okay, and not here, okay, and not here, all right? But what happens is that I see that you can change its value and it will return its memory location, okay? Meaning that even if you make copies of it and make changes to one, it have change an item in D, okay? The new one here, this D new, right? So if I execute this, now you are seeing first person has Emmanuel has for D, but for the new D, first person 2 is now Emmanuel also. We don't want this kind of of a situation. Okay, we want a situation that if you make copy to word, it does not affect the other one. Okay, and that's where the copy function comes in, the copy method. Okay, so then how this works now, the copy method they do the same thing. Okay, they just make copy of an existing dictionary and then save that copy in a new memory location, so that when you make use to the old one, the new one does not get affected. Okay, so now what we should do here is instead of doing d new is equals to do d, you can now say d new is equals to d dot copy. Okay, and this will work. So now this changes now should only take effect here and not here, right? So if I execute this, now we see our first dictionary here. First person is now Emmanuel, but we still have the old dictionary where first person was author, and that's what we want. Okay, so that's what the copy does. It helps us make a copy of dictionary, so that when we make changes to one, it does not affect the other one. So another method is the dict method. This one takes in an argument of an existing dictionary and now make it as a new instance and then save it in a numeric location. Okay, which still does the same thing. So now if I say dict, right, then inbuilt function, and now I put in d there. All right. So this should still work. So we should see Emmanuel for the first one and then author for the last one. So if I execute this, okay, so that still works. So you have Emmanuel here, you have author here, all right? Okay, so that is that. So before we have 6 minutes left, and let's look at that look real quick again, all right? But I believe that if you go back and watch this video, you will understand what I'm trying to say here. Okay, so now, all right, so now, okay, so for method 1, all right, for method 1, I said for method 1. So now this is how we look. Remember, this is a loop construct, a for keyword and a variable name, the in keyword, and then the dictionary name. That's when you're looking for a dictionary. Okay, and then I always say that if this happens to be, if this was a list, okay, if this was a list, or probably we put in a range function here, and then we do len of d. Okay, like I said once we involve the range function, okay, the Python will always assign this variable to 0 to keep track of the count of how many times this has looked. Okay, that's if we do not specify a starting index here. Okay, so now if I execute this, sorry, we should have 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that 0, 1, 2, 3 is equivalent, is like a list. It's more like a list index. Okay, but but index does not work with dictionary. Okay, but if it was a list, these are index. This index 0, index 1, index index 2. Okay, so now if I do this L, okay, if I do len of L, okay, and execute this, no, that I now will always hold the if I now will be assigned to 0, and then it will keep incrementing as the loop goes on. Okay, I said that this I now will always be equal to the total index that is in this list L. So now the total index here is 2, which is 0, 1, 2. Okay, so if you do execute this, it will always be equals to that. Understand? It will always be equals to that. It will always be equals to that. Okay, so and I say that since index does not work with dictionary, okay, so we can't actually do this dictionary, all right? But and I say that there's another way we can do this, which is for I in L. Okay, for I in the either in the list or in dictionary or in the string, for I in L. Now I said that this one, the I now would not, since there's no range function, okay, the I will not instead of the I being assigned to 0, 1, 2, 3, okay, the item is now being assigned to the actual item in that list, okay. That's because the range function is not there, okay. If the range function was there, Python will assign this value to I, and that value will be like a starting value, which is always 0. But if it specifies a starting value, that this I will start from that value and keep on incrementing. Okay, but we can't do this with dictionary because index does not work with dictionary. Okay, but there's another method of loop. I said this one is for I in L without the range function. Now since there's no range function, this I will not be numbers, like won't be assigned numbers. So instead, it will be assigned the element in the L itself. So now the element in this L here is 10, 20, 30. So now I now, instead of printing 0, 1, 2, we'll now be printing the element itself. Okay, the element itself. So if I execute this, so now if I execute this, okay, we're now having the element itself, which is 10, 20, and 30 there. Okay. So now I also said, okay, that if we do this, okay, that there's one thing that there's an index method in list. Okay, there's an index method. Okay, so now since this is now producing the element itself, and I said, okay, and I said, okay, fine. How do I know the index of 10? Of 20 in this list? Okay, I want to print the index of 20. How do I print it? Anybody to answer that? How do I print the index of 20? Okay, I'll answer that real time.
The method, use the function.
The index function.
You just say,
right?
You can say X equals to L.
Okay.
L index. There's 1. No. We want to print the index of 20.
Of 20, yes.
Okay, dot index 1.
Index 1.
In bracket 1.
Okay. Now I remember I said that this index, all right, takes in the value it wants to bring at the index. So now we not put 1 there because 1 is actually the index here. So now what we put is actually the value and it returns the index, all right. So now is the value that we will put there, okay, which is 20, okay, not actually 1, all right. So if I go ahead and print this, okay, okay, and print X now, we shall have 1, okay. So always remember that this function takes in the value and return the index, all right. This one takes in the value and return the index, all right. So if I execute this, this one is actually this index here, okay. It's actually index here, okay. So now, and I said, and I said that now that, okay, with this, all right, with this, we can now say with this, okay, now that that the index takes in the value and return the index, okay. And I said that in this other loop, okay, that this other loop now, since there's no range function, that this I will be assigned to the value of the list, like to the element itself, the element of the list, okay. So now if I execute this, we're having 10, 20, 30, all right. So now how do I actually print out the index? Okay, I don't want to print the value. I want to print the index. That's now where I now bring in this idea here again down here, all right. And I say print, since I is now the element itself, now bringing the element itself, I can now say that I can now go ahead and say L dot index of I, and then execute this, okay. And now having the value, okay, then and then execute this. I will execute this. Let me comment this out, and then execute this, and this returns the index, okay. I believe you flow up to that point, all right. you follow up to the point where you can actually change from index to value and value the index, right? So now, and I said, since index does not work with dictionary, okay, since it does not work with dictionary, okay, but for list, it works, right? So now, if I do this, if I do for I in L and then print L and then print I, sorry, that I will always print the element itself, okay? But if I do that for a dictionary, instead of for dictionary, this will not print the element itself. What it will print will be the keys, okay? It will print the keys. So if I execute this, I'm getting the keys, first person, third person, name, and then second person, right? So and I said that we can now get the value itself from this, okay? Since I now is now the key, and now to get a value in a dictionary, we do something like this. The dictionary name, and then in square bracket, the key name, okay? And since this I is now holding the key name, if I go ahead and print this out, we should get like the if I go ahead and print this out, okay, we should get like the value itself, not actually the keys again, okay? So if I print this, if I put this in a print statement, okay, I put it in a print statement and comment this out first, when that one out first, and then execute this, we now have the value itself. Okay, so that is that. That's the difference between this for I in D and for I in L. Okay, for I in L, okay, which is a list, we always return the element itself. This I will always return the element in this list. This is 10, which is 10, which is sorry 10. What is on my mouse? It is 10, 20, and 30. Okay, but for I in D, okay, will not return the will always return the keys, okay, the keys, and then from there now we can now play around with it to get the values. Same thing with L. If we do for L, okay, the L will always give us the element, okay, and then we can now play around then to get the index. All right, same thing with the dictionary.
You can't use range in dictionary, right? Because
can we use what else?
Can't use
yes,
range now.
yes, you can use index dictionary because in dictionary does not support indexing. Okay, so what you can use is
what I mean.
And
can you hear me?
I cannot hear you properly. What did you say?
What I mean, we can use for I in range. Like we can
that I can use range function in dictionary. Yes, I can use it, like I can use range function, but wait, what will actually be returned will be the number of items on the dictionary. I think the person network is bad. Okay. So I believe. So I didn't really get that question. I didn't really get that person's question. So if the person can actually type it here in chat, then I can read it and say how I can help. Okay.
I didn't get what you said.
Okay, I said that in the range function, okay, that you can use range function with dictionary because what it will return if you put range here, okay, and then do len of dictionary, it will actually return the number of items in the okay, it actually return like the index of each item, but that will not work. That will not work because Python dictionary does not support indexing, right? So if you go ahead and print I, then if I print I now, let me comment on this. Okay, if I print I print that I, what we now have is sorry, let me see my screen again. What we will have is 0, 1, 2, 3, okay? is 1, 2, 3. Okay, and we cannot come and do this now with dictionary. Okay, dictionary will tell you that this key error. Okay, it does not support indexing. Okay, so we can't really use range to get anything in dictionary. Okay, so you can just use for I in G, and then we get this. Have I answered the question?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, okay, sir. So I'll send the slides. So you guys will get the slides. Okay, you guys will get the slides. You guys will get the slides. Okay, so that's that for today's class. We will meet on Wednesday, and then we discuss further. Good night, everyone.
Thank you very much, sir.